All right, welcome to another episode of Soto Desperado Plays Ark Survival Ascended. I'm trying to consolidate these guys, the Sabertooth. I'm breeding these guys. I did manage to get a male with the stamina I needed, which is 1520. And that's good. All right. Yeah, the birds are going to take... It takes 24 hours. There's no breeding bonanza right now, so... I managed to breed these and got him, and now I'm breeding him with them. Maybe I'll get weight and height, weight and health. This one is the older male, the first male. And this is a stamina female, but he already has stamina on him. Trying to produce a male with weight and health plus stamina in order to, accumulate the statistics. Okay, so it looks like they're done, more or less. Yeah. Okay. So they're done. I just gotta wait. Alright, let me get him out of here. I just put him over here somewhere, out of the way. I gotta wait for them. 12 minutes. Alright, so let's see what videos we got today. We got Realist Being 99. And this one's kind of a freaky thing.
Social media influencers and all these people who you see filming in public without other people's consent. All these people can go die and burn in hell.
Yes, Dungeon Master. Yes, Dungeon Master.
These people are fucking stupid pieces of shit, bro. These fucking childlike people who want to go around society and they want to just have their friends record them while they walk up to people and say dumb things and, just be obnoxious in public, like being just an attention whore and an attention seeker. And you'll record yourself or have someone record you being really loud and obnoxious and disrespectful, and you're just trying to mess around with people who are just random civilians walking around trying to get by in their day. Or you go inside of a store and you try to make a scene in the store, no matter what it is, whether it's a convenience store, a grocery store, a pet store, a fast food place, a restaurant. It doesn't matter where it is, bro. These people are fucking stupid and they are worthless wastes of skin. Let me tell you this. If you claim to be a social media influencer and you go around filming people in public without their consent and you try to be all obnoxious and disrespectful to them and you just try to get attention, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wish for this. I wish for you to get raped in the asshole until you are bleeding, while your parents watch and beg the rapist to stop. That's what these people deserve. You know nothing about life. You know nothing about what it means to be an adult. You know nothing about what it means to be a mature, grown human being. You are a pussy. You are a bitch. You are in no position to tell people how to live their lives, or you're in, whatever it is. You have no right to tell people how to live their lives, or to go around in public just making obnoxious videos and being disrespectful to people for no reason. And then you got all these people on social media who are fucking recording themselves in public, just giving out what they think is good advice when it's really terrible. Like, come on, dude. You're a fucking worthless piece of shit scumbag. You're a fucking rat. You're a fucking, being a rat is even being too nice to these people. But yeah, whether, no matter what type of social media it is, these people who are acting like retards and who do stupid shit in public, and they go and, annoy people at their jobs, and they go and annoy, fast food workers, waiters, waitresses, cashiers, whatever it is, bro. Like, these people just go around and they just annoy people, and they like making a scene, and they like having attention beyond them for no reason. Like, you legit deserve to have your neck be beheaded with a rusty knife, just slowly going back and forth like this. Like, that's what these people deserve, man. Like, there's no reason to censor this or to hide behind my true feelings. This is how I feel, and I am going to express it. But yeah, man, when it comes to these people on social media who try lecturing you about life and they try to give you stupid advice, you have to remember it's all the same shit, bro. They're all saying the same thing. All of them are saying the same thing, bro. Nobody is saying the things that I'm saying. Nobody is, bro. I'm the only one I've seen on the internet or in the world in general, whether it's on the internet or in real life, that speaks about the things I'm speaking about. Man, real conversations are hard to come by. They are. But yeah, if you call yourself a social media influencer, I hope you get bitten by a family of raccoons and you get rabies. And yeah, man, there's a lot of things that would be good to happen to these people who think they're above society and they think they can go around disrespecting people and getting away with it. And these people who go around taking pictures and videos of people without consent, all these fucking stupid people who are obsessed with social media, whether it's Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, bro. These people are fucking stupid and mentally ill, and they need to just, they need to be bitten with 5,000 pounds of pressure from a Nile crocodile in the fucking throat, like right over here, and like just ragdolled around like this by the crocodile. That would be so nice to see, man. So yeah, remember, if you use social media, there's a high chance that you are a loser and you are dumb. If you go around just with your camera just pointing it in people's faces, or having someone film you from afar while you go make an ass of yourself and you go be disrespectful to someone in public, whether it's someone who's working at their job or it's just a random civilian on their day off, whatever it is, bro, you are a fucking piece of trash, and you need to leave people alone and let people have comfortable, happy lives without having to deal with your stupid nonsense. Obviously your parents are dumb and mentally ill, and they thought raising you was a good idea, when really all they had to do was just throw you in the trash can right when you came out of your mom's pussy. But they didn't. They said they decided to waste all their money and all their years and all their time just raising you, and look at what a piece of shit you turned out to be. Just a worthless, low testosterone fucking retard, bro. Like, that's what you are. All these fucking social media geeks, bro, they have no testosterone. They have no ounce of masculinity in them, bro. And if they're girls and they're women, then they're just stupid attention-seeking whores, and they're nothing but stupid whores, and they're better off just being hookers who get abused every day. Like, that's what these people deserve. So yeah, social media influencers are dumb pieces of trash who are better off being eaten by worms in dirt 6 feet under. All of us watching this video are better than these people, if you know what I'm talking about and you agree. If you don't, then you're dumb and you're stupid, and yeah, there's no hope for you or humanity in general.
That guy always gets me, I'll tell you. Elsa, Ray, and Baron. I don't think I've heard this before. Let me see.
Off-grid homesteading, as you see it presented online, is not what you think it is. It's shown as a dreamy escape from modern reality, an easy way to find purpose and happiness through floral dresses, big gardens, happy chickens, and steamy sourdough bread. The term off the grid traditionally refers to not being connected to the electrical grid, but can also include other utilities like water, gas, and sewer systems. Having lived off the grid for the last 8 years, we are going to expose the true reality of what it takes to live off the grid. And by the end of the video, you may realize it's not the lifestyle for you.
Oh, jeez.
I'm Elsa. This is my husband, Baron. We've been together for over 13 years, and in our early 20s, we realized there was no way we were going to be able to afford a house, 2 cars, and kids in Kansas City if we didn't want to work our lives away for all of it. We established goals. We asked ourselves, what do we want? A paid-off home, no debt, time, a family, and all of this ideally surrounded by nature. Baron proposed the idea of a tiny house, which at the time was pretty new in the online space, but with nowhere to legally park one and dreams of getting out of the city for good, we bought a 13-foot fiberglass trailer and towed it with the car Baron had, a Mini Cooper S. A year later, we swapped it with a more reliable Subaru Forester XT and spent 5 years traveling through every state west of Kansas to figure out where we'd want to establish roots. But more so, this way of living well below our means allowed us to get our heads above water financially. We paid off student loans and began saving every last bit of income we made on the road from this YouTube channel and from our small online businesses. In 2021, we purchased 40 acres of raw land outright using the money we had saved during our travels, and later began building our little off-grid house. Neither of us had dreams of living off the grid. We just knew we weren't going back to our lives in the city if we wanted to achieve our goals. Living in our 13-foot trailer, we had no intention of paying rent to RV parks, so we learned what was necessary to live off-grid on public lands, moving every 14 days. Our first couple months off-grid, the only power we had other than from the car was this small cook stove that produced enough power when cooking our food to charge our phones. Later, we purchased a small portable battery and solar panel. We carried 12 gallons of water with us at a time from creeks or public water spigots, and learned how to eat in a satiating way that was extremely affordable. Baron has an entire chapter titled Food is Fuel in his book Normal to Nomad, about the frugal ways we learn to eat and our entire nomadic journey as a whole. If any of this has been interesting to you so far, you definitely want to pick up a copy at normal2nomad.com.
Interesting.
With our basic needs met, we slowly upgraded elements in our camper, each improvement adding a significant boost to our quality of life. We upgraded from a pretty unsafe propane garage heater to a wood stove, added a bit more solar power, and swapped our wood-fired cook stove to a propane 2-burner. When you can learn to live comfortably with very little, it takes very little to increase happiness. What gave us a leg up in off-grid homesteading was we were so well adjusted to the desperation of off-grid life on the road. We'd gotten used to being snowed in with no power, waking up to light our micro wood stove several times a night in negative Fahrenheit temperatures, pivoting solar panels every hour to make enough power to edit a video, melting snow for water when the creeks were frozen, and sometimes digging frozen holes to poop in. And this is why we feel comfortable talking about what it's truly like to live off-grid.
Okay, let's talk about it then.
Okay, Veronica, let's get into it. Electricity. Living without access to the electrical grid is, by definition, the main designator of off-grid living, so we'll start here. Where we live, we have no option to tie to the grid. If we want electricity, we have to produce it on-site, and we do that using solar power. On solar power, we have to be hyper-aware of our power usage because our supply is limited and depends entirely on the weather. We have to be aware of how much power all of our appliances pull. We're constantly calculating wattage to determine which appliances we can and can't run in our home. For example, hair dryers and other tools pull an extreme amount of power for what they are.
Oh, that's promising.
The sun dictates our day-to-day lives. Without the sun, we have no power. Even outside electricity, the sun contributes to the heating and cooling of our home, but we'll get to that later. During long, cloudy stretches, we've often fired up our gas generator to top off our batteries and have had to make sure our Starlink internet, laptop chargers, and other electronics were unplugged in the evenings so we didn't wake up to empty batteries. We'd postpone computer work during major storms and charge up all battery-powered devices during long, sunny stretches. We have squeezed by with very little solar over the last 7 years, and just this summer worked out a deal with Battleborn and Rich Solar, who supplied the solar kit for our home. This is one of 3 sponsorships we've ever done on this channel, so it really means a lot to be working together. With our new kit from Battleborn, we have enough power to run most things that a typical house would, using intentionally selected appliances. We'll have a hyper-efficient washer and dryer with heat pump technology, but even still, we probably won't run it at night. If there's a long stretch of stormy weather, we might take greater care to note how much power we're using. We are set up to add more panels to our system if we need to, but what some people forget when commenting on our small solar kit is that we're used to operating on next to nothing. Since moving into our house, we've had 3 light bulbs. Not for any reason, it's just what we're used to. We feel extremely grateful to have had the opportunity to work with Battleborn and Rich Solar. This kit unlocks a lot of opportunity for us, like having a washing machine and more light bulbs. Once you get a solar system set up, solar is amazing, because if the city power goes out, yours does not. The tech has gotten so good that with a proper solar kit, you hardly know you're off-grid. In some locations, your solar install is even tax deductible, but in other places, an independent solar kit is illegal if the grid is accessible. Water. In our area, you are legally required to have a well or cistern. We have both. We hired a guy to survey or witch our land to find a good spot for water. He had a side-by-side with a fork on the front which measured electromagnetic frequencies, I think, to help determine composition and likely places to hit water. It's never an absolute or reliable science, but it did work for us. Drilling a well is a big financial risk. You are charged by the foot and aren't guaranteed to hit water. Around here, well drillers are pushing $50 a foot. A 100-foot well would cost $5,000, or a 600-foot well would cost $30,000. And that's just to poke the hole. A well pump and the rest of the plumbing is another expense.
You might be wondering why we didn't drill our well up where our house is. They couldn't get the well drilling rig any further up our land, and they surveyed it, and where we drilled was the most likely place to hit water. And we got like 30 gallons a minute, so it was a great thing that we drilled it where we did. So I would rather have a good well that we have to work a little extra to get the water out of than have a crappy well that is right by our place.
Because the well is so far from our house, we have to power the well with one of our old batteries and pump it up our hill. Eventually, we'll have a line running down to the well from our house to power it on demand. But first, we need to bury the line, which can't happen in our mountain of solid rock unless we blast it away. So we'll have to get creative. And it's not as simple as running an extension cord down the hill either. Lots of systems, electric and plumbing oriented. So we have a cistern buried beneath the foundation of our house that we fill up manually every 3 or so months. This area is also where the water heater is and the bulk of our plumbing and drainage. Because of the small amount of water that we use on a day-to-day basis, this cistern works great for us, and we will eventually design a less labor-intensive system to fill it. Once all of the water systems are complete, it is really nice to live on well water. It hasn't been stripped of healthy minerals or had unhealthy chemicals like fluoride added to it. Plus, it hasn't traveled through miles of ancient corroded city pipes to get to us. We had our well water tested and all levels of minerals are safe to drink, but it is very hard, which we will have to address. You might be wondering why we don't just use rainwater. Fact is, rainwater collection is limited and even illegal in many places. Legal water is frequently contingent upon acreage. If your plot of land is too small, it may be illegal to have a garden or livestock. It's wild for water regulations to be so tight on an individual scale when you look at how much water is used in farming, watering lawns, taking showers, and the like.
Ugh, if I don't get 2 baths a day, I could get stinky.
The average American uses 80 to 100 gallons of water per day. And most absurd is the fact that in many places we are legally implored to poop and pee into over a gallon of fresh drinking water. Multiple gallons if we account for courtesy flushes. Septic. Poop's gotta go somewhere, and if you're off-grid and don't yet have a septic system, you'll probably have to see and interact with your own poop.
Good thing girls don't poop.
Most places will not legally allow composting toilets, despite being extremely useful, especially in the desert where compost is at a premium for gardens, and water is even more scarce. Instead, all those potential nutrients are mostly wasted due to the requirement of septic systems. Over time, septic systems have become orders of magnitude more expensive than they were in the past, and with all the regulation and bureaucratic momentum, they continue to get more complex and fragile as well. The only real upside for septic is you don't have to pay for monthly sewage. Food. Gardening seems to be super easy and tends to be trivialized online. The truth is, a lot goes into planning, planting, maintaining, harvesting, and preserving a garden. It takes a big garden to grow enough food to make a dent in food expenses. We have had a few fairly experimental gardens over the last few years because we have been occupied with building. Spending time on a proper garden and greenhouse is one of the things we most look forward to in the future. Trouble is, well-built greenhouses are pretty pricey even if we build ours ourselves. The same thing goes for our current lack of chickens and other animals. We need to get our home established before we have the time and resources to tend to other animals. Chickens are fairly passive, but require a number of inputs to keep them alive through the winter. One thing chickens will really help us with is processing food waste into compost. We try to limit food waste, only serving as much food as we can eat. And we do our best to buy things with little packaging since we have to deliver our own trash to the dump that's almost an hour away. Our primary grocery store is a 3-hour round trip away, so we only go to the store every 2 to 3 weeks and stock up on all of our necessities. We have procured the majority of our meat the last few years from hunting. Modern hunting is not a simple process. Obtaining tags for different species can take years in the West. We would have to apply for points several years in a row, not being able to hunt mule deer for those years in order to save enough points to hunt on our land. This is why Barron has traveled to hunt to harvest deer the last couple years. The majority of the work begins once the animal is down, skinning, gutting, and packing the meat out, then cutting, processing, and grinding the meat before storage. It's very labor intensive, and we find that super fulfilling, though many people choose to take their animals to a processor rather than doing the work themselves, which can get fairly expensive.
Barely good. This is so exciting.
No utilities. Heating and cooling tend to be energy intensive, requiring a sizable solar kit if you choose to do it with electricity. Interestingly, air conditioning can be more viable than heat at times, given that AC is needed when the sun is blasting. Heat is most necessary when there is less sun in the winter during snowy nights. Instead, many people use propane or wood for heating. We designed our house to passively collect solar heat through our windows, to be stored in the giant thermal battery of concrete that makes up our house. We insulated the outside of our house to maintain the cave-like temperature within our house. We then supplement with wood heat when it's super duper cold. We believe sun position throughout the year to be a major consideration in choosing where and how to build a home, especially an off-grid one. Thoughtful orientation helps moderate temperatures in the summer and winter, blocking high summer sun and letting low winter sun in. Tree coverage and slope direction also plays a huge role in planning. We believe spending time, ideally living on the land for at least all 4 seasons, is near mandatory to decide where and how to build. Unfortunately, living on your land before building is illegal most places. We don't pay a garbage truck company to pick up our trash because no such company exists. We try to produce as little trash as possible, filling around one 40-gallon trash can each month. But this should wane significantly once we finish building. We reuse as much as we can, especially glass, and buy as little plastic as possible. Did you know the idea of plastic recycling was manufactured by big oil companies to encourage us to use oil-based plastics rather than reusing our containers? Maintenance on appliances, systems, vehicles, generators, and the like is fairly constant work. We don't have the money to pay someone to come and do all the things for us, so we learn to do all the things. We drive old vehicles that are fairly reliable, especially the GX, and Barron does routine maintenance and fixes whatever he can himself or with the help of friends. It's fulfilling fixing and maintaining things ourselves, but it takes a lot of research, tools, and time. Since we built all of these systems, we know how they work, and we can typically diagnose and fix problems ourselves, which feels quite liberating. Also, with the help of the internet, fixing things ourselves is far more accessible than you might realize.
Well, that was easy.
Woo! Money. We saved up for 5 years living in a portable 10-foot house well below our means to accumulate enough money to buy our land in cash. And we have built our house as slow as finances dictate. The whole deal could have gone faster with a loan, but we opted out of debt because we prefer to own the things we have and don't like the feeling of outpacing debt. Though, even if we wanted to take out a loan on our land, banks hesitate to offer long-term financing on raw land, require higher interest rates, and bigger down payments. This is because the bank is effectively buying land for you when you pull out a loan, and they need to be able to sell it if you fail to pay. They carry more risk with raw land because it tends to be harder to sell, often due to difficulty financing. If you do want to finance a homesteadable property, it tends to be easier to get a mortgage if there is a house already on the land. But this comes with its own set of hurdles, given the inspections and requirements necessary to acquire the loan. mandatory insurance, and the litany of other bureaucratic complexities, we forewent by purchasing our land outright. Another great option is owner financing if available. Everything is harder off-grid. Especially as you're getting your various systems up and running, everything is harder to do off-grid than it is in the city. More care, maintenance, education, and dedication is required to maintain an off-grid property. But the benefits of self-reliance and freedom from mainstream systems are amazing. Building in rural areas can be difficult. Plumbers, electricians, and the like are not plentiful, available, or affordable. We live 3 hours from the nearest Home Depot. Proper planning and overbuying things like screws is vital. Once we're finished building, which we realistically never will be, our serenity will be well earned.
This is part of that run where you're like, maybe I should just turn around. But is the view never not worth it? Like when you reach the peak and get to see everything that you've done, when is that ever not worth it? It almost like it kind of brings tears to my eyes. I think I'm just so many emotions. It's really hard, very hard work. That's making me very strong, and it's teaching me so many things.
To find off-grid land that is affordable, it will likely be undesirable. That was our case anyway. The concrete truck barely made it up our driveway, and the harsh, windy climate keeps the local population sparse. You will need to search areas that are harder to access, obscure lots, harsh climate locations that are unpopular to most, unless you have a lot of money and want something luxurious. Think of all these barriers like filtration mechanisms. The lack of these barriers are what make places like Southern California so popular. Position them as interesting design constraints. Your neighbors will be like-minded, having tackled the same challenges you face, making them generally more practical and useful. Building eccentrically is both a blessing and a curse. Eccentrically built homes, if done thoughtfully, can be far more specifically designed for an area, climate, terrain, and seasonality. Our home design is fairly simple, but using unorthodox methods, so there weren't a lot of how-to tutorials online. On the other hand, the more normal a building, the easier it will be to find help and answers online. There is a dichotomy to building both on and off-grid. In either case, it'll probably be easier the more money you have. In an off-grid build, you are responsible for your own systems, septic, solar, and a well at minimum. Whereas if you're on-grid in an established area, it'll likely be cheaper to tie into the existing systems. But the land will often be more expensive up front with more hoops to jump through, and codes met if you're tying into sewer, electric, and water. We have talked about regulations throughout this video to communicate that although lots of these laws and rules may have been proposed with good intentions, they are crippling people's abilities to live an alternative lifestyle. Right. This is especially relevant in today's housing and debt crisis. People need a way out, and the current regulatory climate isn't helping the situation. It's not necessarily that you aren't capable enough to live off the grid. It's that the government won't let you.
We love you, government. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for keeping us safe.
From everything.
Off-grid living is not glamorous or easy in the way that it's commonly presented, but it is a way to escape some of the trappings of modern life and establishes a level of self-reliance and freedom in a world where freedom and safety are often in conflict. Modern off-grid living isn't necessarily a scam, but these dreamy ideals are being pushed out of reach by regulation. And the day-to-day happenings out here are definitely a bit more gnarly than their storybook presentation would suggest. If you can access your sense of grit, will, defiance, and persistence, the choice to live off the grid may be the most fulfilling decision you make. It has been for us.
Thank you all so much for watching. If you want a closer look at what we've been up to, check out my OnlyFans.
You have to point your... 2, 3, go. You just look like Christ. Huh? You just look like Jesus.
I bet they're having fun.
Good thing girls don't poop. I gotta get a little one. I gotta get a littler one. This one's too heavy. It's gotta be like in my hand. We love you, government. We appreciate you so much. Thank you for keeping us safe.
Come.
Jeez.
Your hands.
Hilarious.
I didn't zoom out to see your position. Cover up.
Oh,
sorry.
Your legs.
That's how all the fucking videos are. All the chicks showing off
Okay, I think that's good. Oh.
My Geico motorcycle policy can cover my helmet too, so if it gets damaged, they'll replace it. I'm on cloud 9.
Disclaimer, clouds cannot...
Wow. Anyway, that's hilarious. I'm going to go ahead and subscribe to them. They got how many subscribers? 604K, huh? That's nice. Oh, this is the last one, 7 days ago. Things are changing. Surprise pregnancy after miscarriage. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Poor baby. She lost her baby. Ugh. Oh, I think this is Gypsy. Hey, it's Joey.
Alright, this video is going to have to be around a half hour.
Joey the
Hopefully it'll
Gypsy.
be, well, we'll see
Wasp
what it is.
attack battle while
There's
I
a
read about
wasp
the Great
that
Reset.
keeps flying in here, so if I have to battle a wasp, it might make the video more entertaining anyway. But I want to talk about the Great Reset, and it really kind of makes me chuckle when people are like, you know, the whole Great Reset, you'll own nothing and you'll like it, or you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, and people are like, oh, here's the wasp. Hold up. Why do wasps like cars so much, bro? Like, he wants to make a nest in here, I think. Oh, shit. Oh, get the fuck out of here, bro. I got some orange spray. Oh, shit. Yo! Yo, get the fuck out, bro. Man, this is gonna be a problem, dude. I might have to kill this motherfucker. And if he comes back again, I'm killing him.
Oh, I didn't know he had a scar on his face. I never saw it before. That's interesting. It's the Gypsy.
Shit. I'm totally way off track now. Alright. As soon as I start talking again, he's gonna come back, dude. We got no fucking swing at him. See, the problem with wasps is they can sting you and live. They ain't scared to sting you. And this one knows that me and him got an issue. I try not to kill things, but I'm not going to be battling a wasp every time I try to make a video. Alright, so, just in case I gotta cut that out, I'm starting over. So, now the Great Reset. So yeah, it cracks me up when people are like, I'm gonna own nothing and like it. Yeah, right, I'm not falling for that one. I'm thinking to myself, you already fell for it, bro. I'm on high alert right now. Like, we haven't owned anything in a long, long time. You know what I mean? The Great Reset, that shit happened years ago. And then there's that whole other theory that the world ended in 2012, which I actually believe that theory, and that's the kind of stuff I go over on Patreon. I mean, once you go through the evidence, you're gonna believe it too, I think. And if not, feel free to debate me on Patreon in a civil way, you know what I mean? If you can find... Anyways, it's not what this video is about. So the Great Reset now. Okay. Yeah, they're like, oh, you're going to own nothing and you're going to like it. Everyone's like, oh, I'm not falling for that one.
It'll be fine.
Meanwhile, everyone rents. Nobody owns anything. They're paying 5-10 times in rent what it's worth. Rent should be dirt cheap. Rent should be a last option. Rent should be a last resort. Here he is, man. Get the fuck... Yo! Get the fuck out of here. Dude, I've got nothing to swing at him. And the spray's just pissing him off. Man, this is... Shit. So like I was saying, rent should be like a last resort, you know? So... rent is for people who have, nowhere to go, and if you're on the verge of being homeless, that's when you should be renting. Other than that, everyone should own a place. Now, here's the other thing. People think they own their house. You got to pay taxes on the house, which basically you're still paying rent. And the other thing is, if they can take it away from you, you don't own it. So go ahead and stop paying taxes on your property and see how long that lasts. They're going to take it from you. So you really don't own it. You know what I mean?
Property.
So there's one example of how we already...
for us anyway.
We own nothing and we're not happy, but we've been duped out of everything. They have no more right to own anything than you do. Everyone who's born on Earth has, not to say that everyone's owed something, but everyone is owed at least the ability to make a decent living and have a place to live. Everyone is owed that. I mean, the animals have that. You know what I mean? So everyone should read the book Animal Farm. It's a mind-boggling book. I'll never forget the first time we read that in school. I was floored by it because I was like, wow, even though it's a fictional story, meaning it's not, real, it shows you how they just inch by inch take over everything. So now another example of you'll own nothing and you'll like it is the fact that all technology is basically built to break down in a couple of years. So you have to buy the same phone pretty much every year. I don't, but a lot of other people do. Computers, I mean, it seems to me that video games almost hit a wall a long time ago. All the newest video games, there's no new technology really. You know what I mean? It gets slightly more refined, but the fact that the technology it really hasn't changed that much since mid 2008, 2010. So, and then the other thing with video games is nowadays, the only video game I really play right now is Red Dead Redemption 2. And if not for that video game, I probably wouldn't be playing any video games. It's just that video game came out when I was homeless, and I wanted to play it. I've wanted to play it for a long time. So I was like, man, let me get this out of my system. So I was like, Rockstar makes some badass games. They made the Grand Theft Auto games, which when I was a kid, those games were so fun to me. And so I'm thinking to myself, I could easily pirate the game, but I'm thinking I want to support the company that makes these impressive games. I don't, they can have my money. I support what they're doing. So I was like, I go to the Rockstar website to buy Red Dead Redemption 2, and as I'm looking into it and I'm watching YouTube videos about them and shit, it's basically saying nowadays, if you buy the game, you can't play it offline. You have to sign in with Rockstar to play the game. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to give them 60, 70, $100. Here comes the wasp. Yo, get the fuck. Yo, he's pissed now, bro. I'm quick on the draw, am I not? Man, next time he comes around, I'm gonna have to fucking whack this motherfucker, bro. I don't want to be swinging this thing like a baseball bat, but it's all I got. Alright, if he comes back, he's dead. So, I'm like, I'm not gonna pay them $60, and then I can only play the game online, because I'm gonna be traveling around in a car. I'm, living out of a vehicle for at least a year or two in the near future. That's how it seems as of now. But so I'm thinking to myself, I'm not going to pay them and then I'm only allowed to play the game when they give me permission to play it. I've got to sign in with them every time I play it. So I was like, I'm not doing that. And then second of all, it's like, why would you need to be online to play a one-player game that has nothing to do with, I'm not trying to play it with other people. I'm trying to play it solo. So it makes no sense for a one-player offline game to only be available online. So I was like, I'm not doing that. It's all part of them just completely. They want every second of your life like recorded. They want records on everyone, and it seems crazy. It seems ridiculous, but that's the direction the world's going. And why do you think everyone uses cards nowadays? That whole in 2020 with the whole that situation, ever since then, everyone's pretty much been paying with cards. It's like they're digitizing everything so that your whole life is basically online. So I was like, I'm not buying this game. I'm not even going to play it if I have to play it online. I don't care that much, I'm curious to see the game, but so I started looking into it, and I downloaded a repack of it off FitGirl. If you're into video games, check the FitGirl repacks. Trust me, you'll thank me. So, oh man. So, oh my God, I'm running out of spray, bro. This thing wants more, dude. Hold on, I gotta get more spray. Alright, I got some weapons now. I got something to swing at him, and I got some spray. So, okay, so I was thinking, if I've got to play it online, I'm not even going to buy it, because that's another thing. Then if they cancel you, they can cancel all your account. They take everything. So I'm like, so I look into it, and I get the FitGirl repack. Now I can play it offline, so I play the game. I might start doing Red Dead Redemption lives, because the game it's fun to play. It's also kind of fun to watch. I watch other people play it on YouTube, and it's just sometimes funny shit happens. So there's another example. Now you look at DVDs, and remember, so we were all buying, way back in the day, everyone was buying VHS movies they wanted to own. A couple years later, those are completely obsolete. It's DVDs. Everyone buys everything again. Next thing you know, Blu-rays are out. DVDs are obsolete. Everyone buys everything again. Now, Blu-rays are obsolete and digital, so everyone's buying everything again. But here's the thing. A lot of these things that people buy are in like cloud services and shit. So these things that you buy, you can't even access them unless you're online, basically getting permission to access what is supposedly yours. So, and they're trying to turn everything into like a service where you're just renting it, and they're getting there right in front of our faces. And that's what makes me chuckle when people are like, I'm not falling for that. I'm going to own nothing and be happy. You already own nothing. You know what I mean? They've already taken it all from you. So this is another reason I'm grateful I didn't live this normal life, because if I was living the normal life and grinding through whatever regular job or, I would have, when you're in that position and you're focused on just making a living, you're not even going to bother caring about all this. You're just going to be like, oh, I want that, I'm going to buy it. And then, everyone's paying for Netflix, and I don't pay for none of that shit. I put everything on hard drives. But, if I had lived the regular normal life and been making a normal living the whole time, I would have just did it the regular way, because who's got the time and energy to even care? You know what I'm saying? So this is another reason I'm kind of grateful for having lived on the street and been kind of outside of all this, kind of an outsider looking in. I was watching it all happen as it happened, and I've been noticing it for years. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not, here's the thing. The internet, it could be gone in a heartbeat. You never know. Shit happens. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but the internet, anything that you own that's in a cloud service that's on the internet, you do not own it. They can deny you access to it, or if there's no internet, you have no access to it. So, when it really comes down to it, it's like, what does anyone really own? Does anyone own anything? People leasing cars, and then, even if you buy a new car, I personally, I believe they can make cars easily that would last forever. I mean, the fact that everything breaks down the way it does makes absolutely no sense. How come a refrigerator doesn't break down every couple of years? Because then people would be like, this is bullshit. This is inefficient. I can't spend multiple $1,000s on a new refrigerator every year. You know what I mean? People would have figured out another way around it. So if you really look at it, anything you own, if they can get away with making you basically rent it or buy a new one every couple of years, that's the situation it is. So, and it's all designed around just milking you for every red cent. That's this entire society. The whole thing is built around that one simple concept: is to raise a person to generate wealth and take it all from him and milk it from him without him knowing it. This is how the Matrix is real. You are a source of energy. Basically, you're a source of currency. You're a source of money. Now, there's people in the spiritual community, which I've got one foot in the spirit community and one foot out of it. I go over these things on Patreon, but I am not all the way in it, in a sense where I just don't believe. I don't buy into it all. I'll put it to you that way. But there are certain principles that run through. Just go on my Patreon if you want to understand what I'm talking about. But there's people in that community who believe that there are actually more advanced beings raising people to harvest the souls. Now, personally, I don't really believe that to be true. I know a lot of people do believe that. I'm not trying to say that you're a fool or that you don't know anything. What I am saying is I understand how these people think that, and some of the people that I pay attention to really do think that. I just don't think that. I think if they're that advanced, they would have better ways of going about things. And then the other thing is there would be other advanced beings fighting against them. Go on my Patreon if you want details. These are things that are hard to talk about unless you've got all the background. You know what I'm saying? But personally, I do not believe that that our souls are being harvested. What I do believe is that we are being milked for money. And so, the people who seem to be in charge of our societies, they are dumb, they are greedy. This is why they milk it, everyone for everything, and eventually it's going to backfire in their face, because had they just been a little less greedy and kept it the way it was in, let's say, the 90s, where everyone's being milked, but not milked to the point to where they're almost starving and homeless, everyone would have just floated through life and never noticed anything. But here's the upside to what's going on in the world. The majority of people do notice. So they don't maybe necessarily notice that they already own nothing and everything's being milked from them, but what they do notice is that the media, the politicians, the entertainment industry is all in alignment and pushing certain narratives, and they're all pushing the same story. And a lot of people have noticed it. I'd say the majority of people have noticed it. And I've got sources on Patreon who say basically that, yes, the majority of people have noticed it, and that's why we are actually positioned to win in the long run. There's probably going to be some turbulence ahead, but I've also heard that it's not going to be as bad as the turbulence in the past. Now, you see all these rich people building bunkers, and it's getting people somewhat panicked. Does it panic me? No, not at all. First of all, I can't afford a bunker. If I could, I would have one, and not because I'm afraid or anything, but it's because why not? So you got to realize, these people who have this money, why wouldn't they build a bunker? They can afford it. They'd be stupid not to. Does it mean that they know that there's a nuclear holocaust coming? No, they don't know anything. But the reason they're building these bunkers and stuff is because why wouldn't they? They've got the money. In my opinion, it would be stupid not to. If you've got millions and billions of dollars and you can afford to build a bunker full of supplies, of course you would. I know I would. You know what I mean? One of the reasons I'm insisting on building out a car to live in is because, first of all, I'm not trying to pay rent or property taxes. I'm not trying to be locked into paying them. So a car is a vehicle. I can own that. I still got to pay insurance. Of course, they always find a way to milk some money at you. You know what I mean? And insurance, for the most part, in my opinion, is bullshit. My truck just got wrecked. I was paying insurance. They're not paying to fix my truck. It's all, you know, the odds of things working out the way they should. Everything is geared where the chips are going to land on their side, not on ours, 9 times out of 10. So, in my situation, I just had some dumbass cop. I mean, I made a video about it. Go watch the video if you're interested. But so, I actually did take notes on this. Let me see if I am missing anything I wanted to talk about. So, no, I hit the main points. So, yeah, you know, people think, oh, the Great Reset. The Great Reset happened long ago. If things were the way they should be, we would all be relatively wealthy. We certainly wouldn't be worried about food and shelter. I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. The cavemen had food and shelter covered. Next time the wasp is getting whacked, there ain't no more. I'm not playing with the spray no more. I'm taking him out. So, you know, look, food and shelter, it doesn't, even to pay off your house, it doesn't take 30 years to build a shelter. And I mean an elaborate shelter. Give me and one person. It can even be me and a girl could build a beautiful house, and it wouldn't take us 30 years. It would take us a year if we took our time and really made every inch of it really nice. So, you know, the Great Reset happened a while ago. Now, so as far as the world ending in 2012, why do I believe that happened? Well, because things don't operate the way you think they do. We've all been kept in the dark our entire lives. People are like, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, I mean, anyone who's paying attention is a conspiracy theorist, in my opinion. There's obviously a conspiracy. Otherwise, we would all be relatively wealthy. All the wealth wouldn't be in one place, and all the wealth wouldn't be funneled into one place. Do you realize that in order for, I mean, people don't realize the amount of money that gets dumped into the government every day, where, you know, and the fact that they're in debt to China. I mean, the people in control, in order for them to screw up this bad on accident, there's no, you know, they would have to be so stupid that they wouldn't be able to tie their shoes. I mean, nobody makes mistakes this precisely to where it's all about washing money. It's all about funneling money. And you know, it boggles my mind where people are like, oh, everyone, they raise us, everyone's equal. Meanwhile, you got some people flying on private jets to go eat lunch in some fast food place that they miss, while others are begging on the street for $1. You're telling me everyone is equal? And here's the other thing. Everyone's not born equal anyway. Some people are born with a bunch of talents and abilities. You know, I do believe everyone's got something, but some people have a bunch of talents. Okay, that was a butterfly. So, trying to think if there was any other points I wanted to make, but yeah, for the most part, I do think people are waking up. So there's the good news. I just watched a video today on Instagram. It absolutely amazes me. So there's this part of this port town in France. It's not a big city. It's a little town. The trucks that deliver the containers to the ships that get shipped, on their way to the port, they've got a bunch of migrants chasing the trucks. Just to let them know, I ain't playing now, bro. They try to sneak onto the trucks into the crates and get loaded onto the ship so they can go to England. So they're filming every truck that goes through this town is being chased by migrants who are climbing on and trying to get. I mean, could you imagine a society doing this voluntarily? You know what I'm saying? If this happened thousands of years ago, you wouldn't have it. You wouldn't allow just, foreign people to come into your territory and start sucking up resources. It wouldn't happen. This is how wars start. This is why territory is important, because there's some people who are extremely inefficient with resources, and having them around is going to be a drain on your society. Am I saying all migrants are like this? No, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, why don't, if these are constructive, intelligent people, why aren't they building up their own countries? You know what I'm saying? You could put me in any third world fucking shithole anywhere. I believe I'm going to succeed. So the only one I can't really see, although the reason I'm, I am my own worst enemy, but I'll put it to you this way. When I'm motivated, I make things happen. Now, in a third world country where everything is wide open, like, I believe I would generate a lot of resources there. Where I'm at now in America, in modern Western societies, everything is already monopolized. They've already got control of everything. It's the illusion of choice. Everyone thinks they got a choice. Not really. Whatever choice you pick, it's going to the son of a bitch. He really wants to take over my car, bro. Whatever choice you make, the money is all going to the same place anyway. It's going to a couple of places. Oh man, I downloaded a picture which shows where all the money gets funneled into like 2 or 3 companies. It doesn't matter where you spend your money; it's all going to the same place. So everything is monopolized. You can't. Look, in a real capitalist society, there would be competition sprouting up left and right, which would cause competitive pricing for everything. And I'm talking rent, everything. Everything should be cheap in a capitalist society, because if people are not doing it, if any company who's not providing a good product at a good price is going to get overtaken by a more efficient, more intelligent company. This is why capitalism is good. We're not in a real capitalism. This is some sort of monopolized socialism disguised as capitalism. Because in a real capitalist society, here's a good example of like a true capitalist situation. On the street in any city, the street performers, the street artists, that's real capitalism, because it's not regulated. And so whoever's doing the most unique thing for the best price is going to be making money. I was making money doing portraits. Lots of people were making lots of money. And the people who weren't, they were putting out a less than stellar product at a less than stellar price. So they got phased out. It was just the evolution of capitalism. You know what I mean? So, people are like, this capitalist society, this is not a capitalist society. It's a monopolized corporate socialism where all the money goes to the corporations. But anyways, the minutia of it bores me to tears. Otherwise, I'd go make a video about it. But I don't even care. I don't need to know the microscopic details. I just know we're all getting screwed. I'm running out of time here. But so, I guess that's the end of this video. God.
Rex is taking too long to tame. Jeez.
Shit. See, the problem is, when I leave my car, he's going to come in here and make a nest or something. I'm going to have to figure that out. All right, so anyways, yeah, so let me watch this video and see if I made any sense while I'm battling this wasp. And I got to go do stand-up tomorrow. I got to do stand-up this week. Yeah, I really want to start putting up more stand-up. Here's the problem. I keep filming it in this selfie view that looks like shit. So I got to figure that out. I got to get a better angle and start taking that more seriously. My other YouTube channel, I need to start taking that more seriously. Yeah, there's a lot of things I need to start doing. Anyways,
Jesus,
I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks
This
for
thing
the
might
subs,
die if I
thanks for the
try to
likes,
tame
thanks
it,
for the
but I'm gonna
comments,
try.
thanks for the tips, thanks for the Patreons especially. If you want a response to your comment, try to get it within the first 30, and I will respond to it. And I guess that's about it. Let me see if this video makes any sense. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one.
Taking too long for that fucking Rex to. I mean, it's not even a high level Rex. It's a okay level. I mean, well, actually, it's sub my personal requirement. Come on, man. Fucking Rex. Tame up, motherfucker. This is a 232. Yeah, it's at 232, so it's like one tier away from what I would need. Come on, fucking Rex. There it is. Finally! Gotta hurry up and crowd this dumbass Rex. Passive. Alright, let's get that 232 in here. It might die when I try to tame it, but they usually go down pretty quick. Come on, fucker. There we go. Yeah, I gotta get this guy. Come on. Hello. Hello. Come on. Yeah, the thing is, he's trying to avoid paying rent, and we all want to do that. But I'm paying rent because I have cats that I feel responsible for. That's it. I'm not really responsible for anybody, but ultimately, I love these animals. Come on. Come on. Stop running away. Come on. There we go. There we go. There we go. No. There we go. Got you this time. Now, let's hope we can get them. In the meantime, I'll see if there's another video while we're waiting on that. Joey the Gypsy. I like him. See if there's a small...
Just as the title says...
Madeline Rodriguez. I got laid off from a job the third time, but I don't care.
This is now my third time being laid off from a job.
Jesus.
It happened to me 2 days ago, and I am completely numb. I should be panicking because my financial security and stability has been taken away from me in the blink of an eye. Yeah. But what is that going to solve? You could look at it on the flip side and say, well, if you're not in fight or flight response mode, then you're not going to be motivated to rapid fire apply for other jobs. But I truly believe that this is the universe's way of guiding me towards the next direction and chapter that I need to take, which is that of self-employment. It's something that I have aspired to do for an extensive period of time. And I even talked about it in a previous video I made where I revealed that I worked at a very toxic organization and how that experience by itself motivated me even more to want to become my own boss. This company that I worked for, I was hired there this January. It is now September. You can do the math as to how long I was employed with this company. Not very long. I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, you just sound privileged and you don't have it as hard as other people who have experienced a layoff recently. And I just want to say this, hold up. I fully acknowledge and I sympathize for anyone going through a layoff, more specifically those who have dependents, mortgages. There are entire families that have uprooted their lives for a new job opportunity, relocating to another state or going overseas to a different country. And then they get the horrible news that their position has been terminated. Can you imagine? So when I look at my situation, it's nowhere near as severe. Yes, I live alone. I'm 30 years old. I rent an apartment. I have bills, as I mentioned earlier. Thankfully, I don't have children and I don't have pets. So I'm just going to have to hustle a little bit here. I've been in this situation before. And this third time around, I feel I have a much better handle and grip on my emotions, and I'm not as reactive and negative about it. Woe is me mentality. Because despite what you hear on the news or read online, the job market is not flourishing. There aren't a plethora of jobs out there to apply to, okay? There are people being laid off as we speak. I went on Reddit the other day and I made a post on one of the forums, and I just kind of went into a rant about how I just don't have it in me to truly feel, I don't know what the word is, I don't have it in me to feel disappointed that I lost my job or defeated, because we are all disposable. These companies do not care about us. It is every man for themselves. The minute they see the chance to discard of you when you're no longer of service to them, or if they're only looking out for their own financial gain or benefit, it's bye-bye. All of that hard work, loyalty, and dedication that you invested into a company, it's down the drain. It doesn't matter. They don't care. There's no need to get emotionally attached to a company. And that's exactly what I've been doing going forward. Is I know that these jobs are just here to help me stay afloat and survive, okay? At the end of the day, it all comes down to corporate greed. Despite what you hear about inflation and the prices of products and services rising, listen, we are way beyond that. We are now in probably a recession, and these companies know that they can milk you of every penny, dollar that you have because they know you need it. And so they're just taking advantage of you. I think you get the gist. Something that I dream about doing is becoming a full-time YouTuber. And I do realize that it is a long shot, okay? That is a lofty goal. It may take a long time before I see the results that I'm seeking on my channel. Building an audience, keeping viewers captivated, grabbing their attention, that's a tough thing in and of itself. And I'm well aware of that. To me, YouTube is the only thing that makes sense. It brings me happiness. It allows me to channel my creativity into something and to help out other people along the way. But realistically, I can't just bank on YouTube to help me reach my financial goals and financial freedom. It's not realistic right now. I still have to figure out a way to bring in income. Every time I tell someone that I want to make YouTube my full-time job, they encourage me and support me, but I can tell that internally they're scoffing and they're wondering, is she that delusional to think that that could actually happen, that that could come to fruition? But you know what? That's okay. That motivates me even more. Someone commented under one of my videos one time that I would never achieve my goal of becoming a full-time YouTuber because my content wasn't interesting and I only have 300 and something subscribers. And I have to laugh because let me tell you something. If people are hating on you, you're doing something right. And for me, that lights a fire under my belt to keep it pushing and keep proving people wrong. Because At the end of the day, it takes a lot of courage to pursue a passion that may or may not provide you with the results that you aspire to see. It's crazy because I went from a toxic nonprofit organization to a for-profit company that is extremely well known nationwide and even internationally. And I had a wonderful experience. I was not laid off from this now previous position because of my performance. There was company-wide layoffs. They were going through a reorg, there was a hiring freeze, there was a travel freeze, there was a budget freeze. They were doing some major restructuring, and crazy part is I knew that this was going to happen. I didn't have the urge to be proactive and start sending my applications out to other places, despite knowing that this day would come. Because I really want to give myself the chance to try being my own boss. And if it doesn't work out, well, that's okay. At least I gave it a shot. Ironically enough, I'm going through a personal restructuring in my life. If you know anything about astrology, then you've probably heard of the Saturn return, which occurs around the age of 29 years old. Everyone who reaches that age does have to endure the Saturn return, which is not a walk in the park. But once you come out of it, you are much more stronger, resilient, well-rounded, and you have learned some really valuable lessons. And for me, my Saturn return is happening in my third house of communication. Communication is something I've struggled with my entire life. I have never been someone that felt confident expressing my needs to people or reaching out to others or setting boundaries and learning to say no. But now it's all happening. I feel like my voice is being heard, and I have no more shame in expressing the person that I am and showcasing the person that I am. And it all comes back to YouTube. YouTube has given me so much confidence, and that is why I enjoy it so much. I feel like even if I don't ever achieve monetization on YouTube and I'm not able to make this my full-time income, I can at least know that I helped many others along the way. There are several videos I've posted where I've received great feedback and appreciation from random strangers all over the world. So moments like that truly make me feel grateful that there is this platform and we have the chance to make our voices heard. But I'm trying not to go off on a tangent because the purpose of this is about being laid off. Listen, my plan right now, well, actually there isn't a plan. I'm going to apply for unemployment. I will get a little bit of a severance. I will get paid for a few more weeks. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And from what I hear, like, getting a severance and being paid out until a certain day is almost unheard of these days. You know, I do have a side income that I've been doing for 3 or 4 years now, and that helps out a little bit. But I've also been wrestling with the idea of leaving Chicago. I've lived here my entire life, except for a brief stint over in LA. I didn't even last more than 6 months in LA. So I came back here, and I knew that I didn't want to make Chicago my home base, but I ended up staying much longer than I had intended to due to life circumstances. Now I feel like I'm ready to relocate and give a new place a chance. I realize that no one is coming to save me. I'm on my own completely. No one is coming to save anybody at the end of the day. We don't know when our time is up. We could step outside and take a walk and something could happen. We could get into our car. Something could happen. I hate to be morbid and pessimistic, but I don't want to waste any more of my time putting my energy into something that isn't fulfilling me. The fact of the matter is, living in Chicago doesn't make me feel fulfilled.
My mom used to get pissed off, and one of the things she would do when she would get pissed off, and she'd go on and on and on how everything would be great if she was still living in Chicago. She fucking loved Chicago, but she went all the way back to Laredo, Texas to be with her parents. But she wouldn't stay in Chicago. She left. She had a sister there who I think died already. But she loved fucking Chicago. This girl's talking about how she hates it. It's the opposite of mom. Kind of looks like my mom a little bit.
I've lived here my entire life, as I mentioned. It is basically all I know. And it just hasn't worked out. Jobs, dating, friendships. It's time to turn a new leaf. As for where I want to go, well, that is $1 million question. I have researched other states, but nowhere appeals to me. I know for a fact that wherever I go, the weather has to be warm 365 days a year. I can tolerate a minimum of 50 degrees,
Jamaica.
But I'm so over winters, snow, shoveling my car, bundling up, having cabin fever because going outside is uncomfortable and you practically can't do anything enjoyable. I think I'm going to move out of the country because that has also been an aspiration of mine. Even if I go for a year, I believe that it will truly change me for the better and I will walk away with a different outlook on life. When I went over to Europe a couple years ago, I remember returning home and I felt so different, but in a positive way. And I just think that the world is my oyster and nothing here is anchoring me down. So this is the perfect time to go. If I don't go now, I probably never will, and I will regret it for the rest of my life. I'm at the point where I'm going to probably turn my car in, sell it for something, even if it's for a little bit amount of money, pack up all my furniture in my apartment and put it in storage, cut out any extra unnecessary expenses, and just go. I don't know. I just feel like what's holding me back besides a little bit of fear, because if you go somewhere that you're not from, especially out of the country, and you're on your own, you have to figure it out. You have to be the one to make connections and advocate for yourself, find a place to live, find a job. I can't go back to live with my parents. First of all, I was never coddled, never babied.
Aww.
Growing up, I was taught the importance of independence and having your own income, your own place to live, and to not rely on anybody. And that has its pros and cons, right? But the point is that I can't go running back to my mom or dad and ask if I can live with them until I get on my feet again. It's either I find a new job, or I plan my move, or I'm homeless. Because let's be real, is unemployment going to be able to cover my expenses? Hell no. So I don't have much time here. I need to get acting now. I have a lot of regret because growing up, I was taught that going to college is the pathway to financial freedom. So I did that. I went to college for almost 5 years and I got the degree and I got the job. But now I have a bunch of student loans that I can't pay because I can't afford to. Interest is accruing. The debt is piling up. I can't find a job that wants to hire me for a long period of time. A lot of people can't. A lot of people have prestigious roles and degrees, and they've been searching for upwards to 3 years with no luck. It's really bad out there. I made a post on Reddit the other day, essentially venting about my layoff and how I just don't have it in me to care anymore. And I was surprised at the amount of responses and support that I received. There were many comments that stood out to me, but I'm only going to share a couple of them, starting with someone who said, "I felt this way too, but it's a roller coaster for me. Don't be surprised if you find yourself going through the stages of grief over time. Some days I felt amazing to be away from a toxic environment, and other days I'd be angry and down out of nowhere. It's hard to predict." I have to wholeheartedly agree, because when you lose your job, you will go through the stages of grief. And there is no way to know how you will handle it. For me, I'm someone, when I experience a traumatic event, I retreat into myself and I shut out the world. So it makes sense that I'm feeling numb about this whole situation. But who knows, in another week, a month, 6 months, a year, it might hit me and I might have a full-blown mental breakdown. I do struggle with anxiety and depression. I also have a personality disorder. In another video I made, I talked about my mental health journey and how I was officially diagnosed with anxiety and depression, and I did purposefully leave out my personality disorder diagnosis because there's a lot of stigma around that, and I wasn't ready to share it publicly. But I'm here to tell you right now that yes, I do have a personality disorder, and I'm not going to go into details on which one it is, but all of that in culmination with each other is in of itself a challenge. If you have mental illness, you know that it's a daily battle. It's important to be easy on yourself as much as you can. Granted, I just got laid off, but I am going to make a deliberate effort to go to the gym every morning and trick my mind into thinking that I still have work to do, because if I get complacent, if I get lazy, then I'm in a world of trouble, right? So it's important to be proactive and to stay as busy as possible and make time for the things that you enjoy, because otherwise you will just end up rotting in your bed. The last Reddit comment on that post I made that really hit my soul on a deep level states, "I will not care if I get laid off. I also don't have any dependents. I live alone. I have some savings, but I don't have enough saved to last 2 years of not having a job. 1 year maybe. I am stuck. I will have to work the rest of my life. I will have to pay rent. No way around it. This is what worries me. I'm a forever indentured servant. What is the point of saving for retirement? I might as well enjoy my life for the short amount of time that I can live off savings." When I freaking tell you, this is some truth. We all know that the housing market is a hot mess, and the probability of most millennials and even Gen Zers obtaining a house is slim to none. It's not what it used to be, right? When our parents were growing up or starting a family. With retirement, I was just telling my mom the other day that I don't really see the point of saving for retirement, because how the hell am I going to know if I'll even make it to retirement age? Sometimes I have to wonder, like, what am I saving for? Because the money that's in there now is going to be chump change by the time I am ready to retire. I don't see myself in the near future owning a home. Like, I really don't know if that's ever going to be my story. I may always be a lifelong renter. And I've come to peace with that, and I try not to bog myself down about it, but yeah, I mean, it is like indentured servitude. If you don't have a job, you're not going to survive. You're not going to be able to cover your basic necessities, your basic needs as a human being. In America, sadly, we attach our job to our identity. If you ask someone, "Oh, tell me about yourself," the first thing that most Americans want to say is, "Oh, I'm a lawyer. Oh, I'm a doctor. Oh, I'm an accountant." Like, when you go to other countries, they don't lead with that statement. They lead with their personality traits or their hobbies or their interests. But we have just been so brainwashed into this capitalistic society and hustle culture, and it's just so chaotic. It's so chaotic. trust me, I don't like being in this predicament. I don't want to be in this predicament, but these are the cards that I've been dealt. And I have to stay grounded and on my 2 feet and be as positive as I possibly can. I also have to remember that I'm not the only one going through this, unfortunately, and this is just the state of our economy right now. It does suck having to go through this alone, for sure, but I have to look at the bright side and say that this is the universe pushing me towards the path that I've been needing to go down for a long time. And I'm not ashamed to admit that I got laid off. I'm sure there are going to be people that know me that will watch this video, and that's fine. I think there's power in being vulnerable and opening up about personal experiences like this because, again, you're not the only one going through it. That's where I'm going to end this off. I could say a lot more, but I've got things to do, you've got things to do, and I appreciate you for listening and being here. If you're also going through this, please drop a comment. Let's support one another. Like this video, it helps to send it out to other viewers. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I hate those fucking birds. They steal your shit. Like the pegomast. Anyway, I need to fix the gates around here. So anyway, we're about an hour and 20 something minutes. And I just wanted to put some flint in here and get this started. I don't know if I have stone. I may not have any stone. Make some spark powder to make the rest of this stuff there. Still got more here. All right. What are you upset about? Relax. Relax, dude. You see what he did? Didn't have to do that. Anyway, yeah, she's going through the shit like so many people are. She's going through the shit. All right. Wow. Won't let me do what I need to do. All right, that's going down. Yeah, she wants to get away from the reality that she's living with. I've been in debt for years. I've been paying on this damn debt for years, and I never got ahead. I never got in. I kept getting blown off. I mean, I'm just that type of guy that people blow off and don't care about. You know, that I interview really bad. I try to improve that, but I never wanted that sort of thing. It was all social game. Had nothing to do with my technical knowledge. Nothing at all to do with what I can do technologically. There's people smarter than me, more capable, and there's people worse than me. And they'd rather hire the worst people if they're their friends or relatives. And that's it. You know? Anyway, she wants to get away, but note that she said that she doesn't want to live in a car. I think she said she didn't want to live in a car I wouldn't consider that. She wants to move somewhere else. But the problem is this thing is happening worldwide, not nationwide. It's happening everywhere. They're setting you guys up to fail so they can reset the economy and redefine everything. You're not going to have any choices because you never did. That's the truth. Never had any real choices. Anyway, I got to go feed the cats, wash up, and go to bed. Got another day of slavery tomorrow. Remember, I've never been free, and I never had a full 2-month vacation paid. Never went out to Disneyland. Never got to do any of the things I really wanted to do with my life. But I managed to feed and take care of some cats. And that is my great accomplishment. I get to be the cat daddy. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Take care.